Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k, Rogue Trader. As today we're leading with some minor loose ends. We've got loot to collect and some level ups to allocate. But then we're moving on up for our first face-to-face with the face of modern Drukhari medicine, Trevantius the Arch-Machinator himself. But, you know, one thing at a time. So, first things first, let's knock out these level ups. And yeah, this one's about as straightforward as they get. Everyone gets an attribute bump plus one common talent, which for the most part will just go towards bolstering skills, though in Valen's case, we're actually finally going to go ahead and grab Las Weapon Expert, which is well overdue. It's just, I kept dragging my feet on it because, as I said before, I was really holding out for a nice, solid slug sniper rifle. And, you know, unfortunately, we just haven't found one. So, you know, long las it is. At least, for now. Though that may change with future loot drops. As for the rest of our crew, again, pretty straightforward. Weapon skill for Abby, then advanced skill athletics. Argenta likewise picks up plus ballistic skill. And then also grabs Stronger Together, which makes her ever so slightly more of a team player. Juliet also gets ballistic skill, and then caps out her awareness. And Pascal, who will boost his intelligence, and then also pick up characteristic training toughness, since he has been a mite bit squishier than I'd like, and this rounds him out to a nice even number. And that's it. Level up's complete. With some pretty decent stat lines shaping up, aside from, of course, our two unfortunately maimed characters, which we should hopefully be able to handle once we meet with that homunculi. Though I do suspect there will be a price to pay for his assistance. That's it. Let's grab our loot and begin our ascent. That's our last charge. And immediate restock on Melta charges, with a bevy of other consumables to boot. Now let's go try our luck with that safe, which should be slightly easier now. Yeah, I guess that is an acceptable risk. Nice. Yes, okay. Let's crack this thing open. Lawbringer. Unique stun rod, which has a special attack that inflicts plus 30 machine damage, but also ends the attacker's turn. Defensive boots. If the wearer does not spend MP during their turn, they double their cover efficiency in half cover. Sounds way too fiddly. And for the defense of Cadia, when the wearer of this badge gains a stack of versatility, they also gain plus 3 momentum. Well, that's fun. Also a no-brainer. That'll go straight to Argenta. So not a lot there, I think, of use, but I guess we will go ahead and slap that Lawbringer on Abby. Just on the off chance we encounter a machine, I suppose. And then we'll toss the spare sword to Argenta. For those rare occasions she gets pinned down in melee. And then, of course, we'll also toss her the badge. But not the boots. We'll just ignore those. Yeah. Alright. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me just canvas the rest of the map real quick. Make sure we're not missing anything else. Nope, all clear. Let's head up top. Yeah, no sign of the Commissar. He's almost certainly set himself up back in Mal's place. Which I do want to get to. But I want to see if we can collect Cassia first. We'll also ignore that for now. We'll have a much better chance of passing that check once we track down our gear. Oh, you know, perhaps if we find something that boosts ballistics on the way up, we'll double back real quick. Let's see what we got. Ah, yeah. Yeah, just generic cargo. That's fair. How about over here? More cargo. Into the void it goes. Cargo.
Keep your wits about you.
Okay, we're definitely being hunted. That's the third time we've seen that guy. The ease with which the flyer took to the air suggests that their body must be extremely light. Even small projectiles must pose a grave danger to them mid-air. Alright, okay. That's good to know. So 2 important clues as to how to deal with a scourge in flight. Stationary obstacles and light projectiles. Man, I do wish we'd passed that first check. I'm curious what that one would have taught us. Ooh, here we go. We've got an Incubus Clave. Sadly useless to us. Aeldari Ranger Sight. The wearer's Deadeye Shot criticals trigger expose weakness against the affected enemy until the end of combat. Huh. Hand of Offense. The wearer's melee attack damage is increased by +0? Oh, 3 times psi rating. Interesting. Sadly, completely useless to us, but we'll toss it to Heinrichs once we get back. That'll be a decent damage boost for those rare occasions we actually use him. Might as well slap this thing on for now. Don't think we'll get much use out of it, but we'll take every advantage we can get. Let's keep pushing up. We've got at least 2 more containers ahead. Oh, for goodness sake. Let's hope Cervantes can help us with this. This is definitely getting old. Have you seen the fresh meat in the arena? There was an exceptional monkey. Common monkey do not last long. He may have survived only to be gutted by the bloodstained proselytes tomorrow. Well, I mean, I wasn't planning on being gutted, but I suppose stranger things have happened. To be fair, I wasn't planning on being stranded in Komarog either. And yet, here we are. Ooh. Mystic Ward. At the start of every combat, the wearer's allies gain deflection equal to the wearer's psi rating. Lost when the ally suffers non-temporary wounds. Not terrible, I suppose. Though, obviously, also not super useful for our current crew. Bruiser Boots. Whenever the wearer performs an area attack, they instantly provoke attacks of opportunity from all adjacent enemies. Which sounds terrible. Even if it does also grant them temporary wounds per attack provoked. Like, I can see its potential use. I just don't feel like it's worth the gamble. Especially not in our current condition. Pass, could you perhaps shuffle to the front, please? Yeah, that's better. And one more container for the road. Into the void it goes. Okay, let's make our approach. They turned us away the first time, but perhaps this time we'll rack up a win.
Meet. The Master ordered that you be let through.
When you approach, a few augmetics spring to life inside the monster's bulk. An injector hisses, filling its blood with compounds that cause its veins to bulge and its muscles to swell and twitch spasmodically. Good to know. No offense, but what kind of monstrosity are you? The monster snorts and puffs out its massive chest.
I am an Acothist, servant of Master Tervantius, his meat driver.
I'm going to need some clarification there. Perhaps you could explain to me what an Acothist is?
An augmented warrior is called a Wrack, because the homunculus invades his nature like a conqueror, racks his mundanity, and creates perfection from what is left. An Acothist is the superior among the Wracks, as well as the strongest and most frightening.
Right. Very scary. So what crime condemned you to this unfortunate form?
No crimes. Labors. I toiled to be granted this honor. I begged for it, and I received it.
I see. So to survive the horrors of this place, you condemned yourself to become one. I can't really fault you for doing what it takes to survive, but still, you have my sympathies.
It is the weak who need sympathy. I am not weak.
The roar is magnified by the echo inside the helm, and hurts your ears. Sure, yeah, if you insist. I mean, look, I've got more than a few augmentations myself. But they're there to compensate for my own shortcomings. There's no shame in that. And from the look of you, You must have had many shortcomings indeed.
I am not weak. I am strong.
The injector system clicks as it drives pistons into the giant's body, and it responds with a blind howl of unadulterated rage. The brute lunges, but its strike does not startle you. Well, not quite what I set out to do, but I'll take it. Poor guy. From wrack to ruin in the blink of an eye. Wrack's macrosteroidal gland. A gland capable of injecting the body with macrosteroids, causing rapid bone and muscle growth. Also a hex rifle. Again, sadly useless to our current crew. Though, stat-wise, that's not terrible. Well, no dodge reduction, half the ammo cap, yeah. Yeah, not really worth investing in. Not for Val, at least. I mean, we already took Las Weapon Specialist anyway. Hopefully Travantius doesn't mind we killed his doorman. Though, you know, given everything we've seen since we got here, I somehow doubt he will. Let's head inside.
Always keep your eye on the price.
Lots of cages. We'll have to keep an eye out for Cass. Oop. Uh-oh. Guys? A little help here? Well, this probably isn't great. Oh, Ravor. What's up, bud? Vigdis? Voidveer, I see you're lurking back there. Right, so I guess we just push through the nightmare. The lamps emit rays that hound your pupils, burning and biting them like angry snakes made of light. Okay, so I think we're pretty obviously on Travantius's operating table right now. The lights are the overheads. Through the bars of the grate you are walking on, you see a bottomless abyss. It beckons you to jump in, and promises an embrace softer than any feather bed in the world. That does sound nice. But, you know, I think I'll pass.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Conrad? The rebellious steps are trying to buck you off, to make you lose your footing and break your neck. The thick curtain shoves you away. It is surprisingly strong for a lifeless piece of fabric. Mort! Man, that guy cannot catch a break. Oh wow, Edelthread too. There's a name we haven't heard in a while. And of course, the one unfamiliar face in the mix. Travantius the Archmachinator. Here to reel us back to reality, I'd wager. Though, I'm certain not for free. The creature in front of you is a patchwork of skins, stuffed with darkness, corruption, and sharp objects. Staring at you with its scalpel eyes, it grumpily remarks, "Such a disobedient specimen. You're still not dead. An anomaly." Its foul, corrupt thoughts reach out to you, groping at your face. Oh, goodness. Look at this guy. Gotta say, I'm actually digging those arms. Not so crazy about the Hellraiser face, though. That just seems unsanitary. Too much work to die. Maybe when I'm done. Oh, I wouldn't mind a hand. You seem to have a few to spare. Ah, but I see you will soon become a very obedient servant. Convulsive spasms, hysterical reactions. Come here. The creature pokes you in the chest, its triangular fingernail easily penetrating your skin. A strange sound throbs at the edge of your awareness. A sound similar to your own screams. A grotesque spider-like figure looms over you. Its limbs wave frantically, chittering and clicking as they rip something apart, then stitch it back together. And you realize its canvas is your flesh. The Xenos' gaze is indifferent, and his low voice echoes through the room. The sample has been extracted. The specimen is alive. Body and mind expected to function within normal parameters. Monkey. There is something fundamentally wrong with this Xenos' silhouette, and its twitchy, abrupt movements, and it sets your mind reeling in disgust. Each of its mechanical tool appendages seems designed to be as sickening and horrifying as possible. Ugh. What happened? Where am I? The control worm in your nervous system detected my proximity. It signaled it was dying by injecting a lethal dose of hallucinogenic euphoriants into your bloodstream. A resourceful individual. That thing in my head. Did you take it out? The Drukhari holds up the pale maggot, the same one you saw in Marazai's hands. As you watch, the tool appendages perform a swift dissection. The maggot's flesh bursts under the scalpel-like claw and blossoms into a disgusting, slimy flower. The Xenos' slow manner of speaking creates an unnerving dissonance with the frantic movement of his limbs. I grew this specimen specifically for you, Monkey. During your interrogation, it intoxicated your feeble senses to limit unnecessary resistance. What a curious experiment it was. I usually extract control worms from specimens posthumously. You possess some degree of bodily fortitude. I see. And do you eviscerate everything that rouses your curiosity? Evisceration is but one aspect of my most respected art. His scalpel fingers scrape together with a hushed metallic shriek. Alright, let's be careful here. Nocturne told us this guy's our ticket out, so best not to offend if we don't have to. At least not until we've gotten what we need. The Xenos thoughtfully clicks his appendage, studded with dozens of needle-thin stingers. So, Tervantius the Archmachinator, right? Your reputation precedes. You are absolutely correct, specimen. I am Tervantius the Archmachinator, homunculus, and the conductor of this place that staggers the imagination and soul. My anatomical opera. I imagine I owe you for services rendered. What's your price for saving me from the threat that you yourself apparently created? You will serve me. Such is life in the spires. The Arabenian urged me to pay attention to your allegedly extremely gifted self, specimen. Let us see if you make a good tool. Same as you, little moth. The Xenos points a mangled limb toward Yurliet. Unless, of course, the darkness of Kamarog burns you as fast as the others. Yurliet flinches. What does this mean, homunculus? Who knows, Asuriani? Who knows? The Xenos makes a chuckling sound. So tell me, Tervy, what exactly did our Arabenian friend tell you about me? The Xenos lets out a strange sound that almost resembles a scoff. This information should not burden your undeveloped mind. The Arabenian told me enough to give you the chance to enter my anatomical opera. That is all you need to know. Well, I mean, I've got to say, Tervert, if you think so little of me, then what task could you possibly hope I might accomplish? You will return to the arena of the Fatal Thirst. You will kill a few of the witch's fosterlings for me. You might even spill the blood of one of the blood-stained proselytes. The homunculus looks past you as he delivers his imperious speech. They are long overdue a small lesson in humility. They have forgotten their place. They lack respect. They do not appreciate my work. They fail to recognize my authority. Still staring into the distance, he continues to list his grievances with maniacal thoroughness. Well, would you look at that? Is that a Marazai I spy? The homunculus makes a snapping sound. Here comes Abis and his fosterlings. The leader of the blood-stained proselytes has paid a visit to the anatomical opera. Take this opportunity to study them properly. They won't dare touch you here. Just out of curiosity, given that I'm apparently a pivotal part of your plan and all, can I expect any actual sort of compensation for my service, or are we just relying on threats of violence and evisceration here? Coercion will be more than enough. If you disobey, I will turn you into material for my creations, and ensure that you feel and are aware of every manipulation performed on your flesh. But if you do what I tell you to do, I will let you live for a while longer. Okay. So I'm killing you once I've inevitably got the upper hand. Gotcha. Thanks for the clarification. Cooperation will increase your odds of survival. As long as you continue to be of use, I will maintain your organic parts, and perhaps even let you play with some of my less significant samples. Cool. Sounds like a deal to me. I'll work with you until you've outlived your usefulness, and then, whatever happens, happens. The response is acceptable. If you behave like a good specimen, Monkey, you may eventually receive my help in escaping Kamarog. The Fleshmaster is mad enough to help us escape in favor of his own unholy designs. But the price, Elentak, will be unfair and terrible. Yeah, that's just called life. Obedience will be rewarded. Take your crude gear with you. I abhor such technological banality, but a creature as undeveloped as you may find it of use. You hear one of the joints in Tervantius's arm click. Once you are finished with this, go and look at the ones who will be your executioners when the time comes for you to die. I'm getting some real mixed messages from you here, bud. You expect me to kill witches, but you also expect me to die fighting them? Hey, and look at that. Yep, yeah, I'd say this definitely improves our chances. And, you know, justifies keeping Turvard over there alive for another day or two. Hope this stuff all auto-equips, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a nightmare to remember who had what. The sheer primitiveness of your technologies. Go, specimen. Deliver Tervantius's message of blood to the arena witches. The homunculus gestures imperiously at the exit. Nah, it's fine. I'm sure Myrazai doesn't mind being kept waiting a bit. I actually had a few other questions for you. Our Arabenian friend implied you may know where the last member of my retinue has gotten off to. Which specimen in particular interests you? Cassia, my crew's navigator. Nocturne of Oblivion mentioned that she may be here. The female with an exceptionally strong connection to the Veil, as well as a number of rare monkey mutations, most notably a third eye. I am studying the influence of complete isolation from the Veil and the outside world on the specimen's abilities, sanity, and physical condition. She no longer screams inside her reservoir, but she is certainly still alive, and I am not yet ready to conclude the experiment. Yeah, I'm going to need you to cut that short because I need her back. Now. Tervantius gives you a look of confusion. Why would I, specimen? Well, you know me, I'm just a primitive genetic throwback with crude monkey technology. If you want me to succeed at the tasks you've assigned, I'll need my entire crew. Then find yourself other fighters. The chasm has enough prisoners, mercenaries, and gladiators. My specimens are not yours to waste. I don't really see option 1 or 2 getting us anywhere. But I'm not above groveling, if need be. Tervantius, I am but your lowly servant. If you wish for me to succeed, then I beg of you to please just give her back. Tervantius responds with a derisive smile. You are so naive, monkey. Have you been convinced by your impotent mind that I could be appeased by such a trite demonstration of obedience? You should be on your knees whenever you are in my presence. Now get out of my sight. Well, I had to try. Also, definitely killing you later. What about my man Pascal? Oh, I was curious to see what kind of symbiosis might emerge between rudimentary monkey augments and my own unflawed creations. Much like cartilage infused with steroids will swell a subject's feeble body, new computational circuits sprouted throughout his algorithms. I found the process enlightening. Interesting. I mean, to be fair, it did give him a sudden, surprising mastery of xenotechnology. But, despite that, I don't suppose I could ask you to, undo that? Gervontius arches an eyebrow. You forget yourself, specimen. Go and serve my will, and should I ever decide to show you favor, I will do so at a time of my choosing. I've got to say, Turvert, you're not really starting this deal off on the right foot. I'm not expecting much from you, but thus far you've failed to deliver even the bare minimum. A deal? Gervontius hisses. You wretch! I do not make deals with the likes of you. I command you. And if you insult me by even insinuating that you and I are equals again, I will deprive you of the privilege of cohesive organic existence. Gervontius, all I'm saying is that there's some give and take in every relationship. You want me to get things done? Then I need a few things from you. And perhaps I can make it worth your while? Gervontius' smile is a strange combination of contempt and pleasure. Your paltry possessions do not interest me. If you had something that could intrigue a master sculptor such as I, perhaps a remarkable piece of organics, then I might grant you a few short moments of my time. If it is a sacrifice you want, artisan of flesh, then I am ready to offer myself as one. Yurliet's voice vibrates, but she keeps her eyes locked on Gervontius. Will you take my flesh? I will take more than flesh. I can extract something far more valuable from a single shred of your organics. The homunculus smiles unnervingly. This does interest me. I will not remove much of her. Her functionality will not suffer. Yurliet, any particular reason you're eager to sacrifice yourself? This will be a step upon the path of atoning for the errors of my past, Elentak. If my sacrifice will bring you closer to salvation, I will commit myself into the hands of this tormentor. Yeah, Yurliet, it's not that I don't appreciate the gesture, but I was thinking we could maybe do this with as little committing to the hands of tormentors as possible. Yurliet frowns, and you catch a strange look in her eyes. A mixture of sadness, relief, and shame. Yeah, well, she's just gonna have to live with that for a while. Gervontius shrugs, and the spark of curiosity in his eyes fades. So, where were we? We were discussing price? After rummaging through what you have, Gervontius pulls out a fragment of flesh that has caught his eye. He splits off a piece of it, places it in his mouth, thinks for a while, and finally concludes. Curious. You have earned my attention, specimen. Speak quickly. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I don't actually choose what to give him, he just picks out a piece at random, I guess. Or perhaps there's a priority queue. Though I do also notice that, unfortunately, there's no option to address Pascal, though there is one for Abby. My man Abby here had a run-in with some sort of Drukhari pain engine. We destroyed it, but we couldn't find a way to restore his vitality. I don't suppose there's some way you could perhaps euthanize him. No, wait. Gervontius' mechanical limbs start to wave with excitement. I recognize the mark of the Katanos' exquisite feeding. What an honor it is for you to be the vessel with which my marvelous creation satisfied its thirst, and to give your modest life force so that it may be transformed by an energy converter. Fear not, specimen, it is within my power to reverse the effects of its touch. The Katanos was an interesting experiment, one that could convert the life forces of its victims into fuel. But it was a flawed, disobedient specimen that escaped. He glances at you mockingly. I do not recommend escaping specimen. The pain from the transformation only stops after I inject the blocker, and I only do it at the end of the procedure. Do you wish to spend the rest of your existence with the sensation of your skin melting and your bones snapping? Compared to some of the other things I've been through. Hey, and look at that. Good as new. Also, no more mind maggot, so all that remains now is the lingering trauma. Also, I suppose Pascal's corrupted systems, but that comes with its own pros and cons. So really, minus not getting Cass back, we are in pretty good shape. We're near optimal form. We're just one man shy. And yeah, like I said, even if we can't end up fixing Pascal's systems, that does open up new potential possibilities, depending on what direction we end up going with Hurliette. Though I want to have a full, proper conversation with her about exactly what happened before we come to any hard decisions in that regard. As for gear, looks like they've reset us back to our previous loadout. Though I will want to go back through it again, just to make sure there's no other gear, newer gear, that I might want to switch back in. But I'll deal with that off screen. So for now, I suppose we'll just finish chatting up Tervantius. You vividly remember lying on this table and watching mechanical pincers tear through your flesh. The appendages protruding from the Xenos' back move restlessly, emitting an unnerving screech. Tervantius is completely engrossed in his apparatus and spares you no attention. I am not in the habit of conversing with specimens, but if it increases your motivation to serve... Yeah, sure, let's go with that. So what exactly is your deal? An absurd question befitting your small-minded kind. The homunculi are artists of anguish and the masters of flesh, the delvers into unexplored sources of pain, the greatest among their people. My head holds a brilliant intellect. My hands command power over life and death. My body is the pinnacle of surgical discipline. Our minds hold the knowledge of hundreds of generations. Are you aware of the beautiful variety of essences that can be extracted from the psychic energy of a dying sentient creature? Of the ways shades of torment and methods of termination alter an essence's properties? This is the great alchemy of death and transformation. Gosh, that does sound nice. And to think I was once so foolish as to imagine only the Imperium could give rise to a mind so brilliant. Only now do I realize how naive I was. Our greatest minds are but a speck in the shadow of your towering brilliance. I am humbled, I say. The homunculi's limbs react with an excited clatter of blades. It's true, I have few equals in Kamarag. My knowledge is vast, and it goes beyond the mysteries of flesh and essences. I have observed many disjunctions where the destructive energies of the unreal erupted here in the webway. I have studied that devastating force, and learned to harness it. You don't say. I have created psi stiflers to keep the space around this spire intact. I have touched knowledge so ancient. Tervantius abruptly ends his speech, casts a suspicious look at you, and then snaps. It is not necessary for you to know this, specimen. Dang. I guess you're just too smart for me. Well, it's fine. I didn't really comprehend anything there about Psychic stiflers are how they're keeping this place intact. I mean, could you even imagine? So I take it you and your ilk are the ones responsible for the various nightmares infesting this place? Without a doubt. Even the most skilled witches and mighty Cabalites are outstripped by the pure destructiveness of our genius. Yet I long ago rose above the building of commonplace battle beasts. The monstrosities I create are unique. My last specimen, the Katanos, surpassed every trifle ever made by my rivals. I fed it elite warriors until it escaped and hid in the mangled sector. I would have caught it, but then a new idea drew my attention. At present, I am working on a grotesque of previously unknown power, built from the most exquisite and exotic body parts from strong fighters. Specimen, should you ever see the corpse of a fine warrior or a mighty creature lying at your feet, cut out the best part and bring it to me. You know what? I think I might just be able to manage that. I am a somewhat compulsive collector of curio, creature parts or otherwise. Kai Morag, Elentek, do you not get enough monsters in this accursed city? Good specimen. Your cooperation will be rewarded. Neat. Hey, just out of curiosity, do you have any idea how I survived? Brainworm aside, last I recall, they ordered to have me disposed of. Your body was given to me for disposal. It was thrown into the cesspit. The homunculus's voice grows thoughtful. It is an anomaly that the specimen did not die. I must consider fitting the disposal chute with a shredding mechanism. Yurliette shakes her head. The Master of Flesh is twisting the truth, Elentek. Had the Arabenian not interfered in the Archon's trial, it is unlikely that anyone could have survived that questioning. Right, yeah, they do all seem to fear that one, even if they won't outwardly admit it. The homunculus looks at you with an impatient and unsettling grimace. Oh, yeah, Tervy, I've got more parts here if you wanted to take your pick. Anything here catch your fancy? The homunculus digs through the chunks of flesh with the enthusiasm of a hungry vulture. Finally, he snaps. Good materials. Good specimen. Bring me more. Oh, wow, he really went to town. Trevantius examines the bloodied body parts with lascivious interest. Then he rips an organ out of his own chest, adds it to the trophies, and hisses in satisfaction. An interesting composition. An unusual set of starting parameters that can be strengthened by an original mixture of essences. This will be a mighty beast. I will call it the Anguish Prospector. You have done well, specimen, and for that, you will be rewarded. Neat, thanks. I mean, not the worst armor, I suppose. Nice to have some heavy gear to... Oh, well, no, we've got our normal gear back now. Well, still. Might find a use for it. I don't suppose you have any other gear to offer? In exchange for this veteran's electrograft. And here I thought Imperial tech was too crude for you. The servants are always dragging worthless trifles in here. I have no use for them. Find yourself a club or a sharp stick suited to your abilities. You could try something more advanced, assuming you are not afraid of accidentally killing yourself with it. Ooh, okay. Glimmer Steel Blade, Drukhari Knife, causes bleeding. No surprise there. Black Haze Venom Blade. Drukhari Sword. Solid damage, high toxin. Might be a good get for kibbles. Free Runner Boots. The wearer is immune to slowed and immobilized. Exoskeletal Gloves, plus 10 strength and plus 5 toughness. Homunculus Injector, looks like a high-end healing item. Scaled off Xenos lore instead of Medicae, that's interesting. And Dark Swiftness. Grants a hefty dodge boost, but with lingering side effects. So do I get to take all these items or just one of them? Because if it's just the one, I'm going for the exoskeletal gloves. But if we can take more... Well, look at that. All right, Tervy, I've got to say, that was an actual halfway decent deal. A real, genuine pleasure doing business. Aw, and look at this cutie. You are no opponent. Not interested. Oh, classic AP. I'm kind of your papa. Or maybe your weird uncle. Also, probably your executioner, but you know. We'll worry about that when the time comes. Yeah, I don't really see any of these people surviving our exit. You know, Tervantius theoretically might have stood a chance, but he's just too arrogant for his own good. Had he perhaps handed Cass off to us, then I may have seen fit to spare him when the time comes, but... Well, I suppose there's still Nocturne of Oblivion. He hasn't really done us wrong just yet. So mayhaps we'll come out of this with a living ally after all. But I suppose time will tell. That said, let's hit the pause button for now. I'll go ahead and get our equipment sorted. And we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Always keep your eye on the price.